Dear learners, welcome to this session. In the previous session, we have discussed the religion of tribes of Central India and Southern India. I have also discussed the concepts of shamanism and Bongaism in the previous session. In this session, I will discuss some of the tribal rituals. I will also describe the contribution of Hinduism and Christianity in tribal development. Almost every religion in the world has a ritual. A religious man normally believes in a superhuman world which is real for him or her. Through rituals and symbolic code, a person communicates with this world. These symbolic code may be called the ritual language. The ritual language consists of esoteric word or mantra, gesture or mudra, sound or dhvani, and everyday language of interaction or vyavhariki. The tribal ritual complex may be described along this line. Here we will first speak of ritual space and then of ritual time. Next we will discuss ritual language in terms of mantra, mudra, dhvani and vyavhariki. In the tribal perception, the ritual space is filled with spiritual beings. There are two classes of space, cosmic space and physical or object space. The Santhal believe that the creator Thakur Jiu dwells up in the sky. The Sin Bonga or the sun god also occupies the cosmic space. There is also the Hanapuri or the land of the dead. The spirits occupy concrete objects in and around their settlement. Such spaces are named after the spirits associated with them. For instance, the spirit of the region, the spirit of the village boundary, the house spirit, the spirit spring, the spring spirit, the mountain spirit, the forest spirit, the spirit of the rice field, the spirit of the threshing floor, cremation ground, etc. The ritual space is different from the ordinary space. A ritual space is sacred, but any ordinary space can become a ritual space depending on its association with the spirit. Generally, it is allowed to retain its natural form. For instance, the Jahir or the sacred grove of the Santhal consists of a clump of shal tree with one mahua standing near. 3 trees in a line are dedicated to Mama Buru, the spirit who dwelt with the first Santhal Jakir era, the spirit of the sacred grove, and to Morko Turukko, the spirit called 5-6. Another shal tree is dedicated to Pargana Bonga, the spirit of the region, while Mahua tree is reserved for Gosei era, the spirit of the sacred house. At the base of each of these trees, a stone is embedded, and all 5 are known as Bonga trees. A simple construction may also mark the sacred space. The Santhal Manchithan consists of smoothly cemented plinth of mud with 2 stories to represent the founder of the village, Manji and his wife, a center pillar of shalwood, a second and smaller pillar supporting a pot of water, and finally a roof of thatch or tiles. Tribes by and large entertain no notion of hierarchy of the sacred spaces. But as Walker has reported, the Torah dairy temples are graded into a complex 49 hierarchy according to relative sanctity. The higher they are, the more elaborate is the ritual associated with the daily tasks of the dairyman, and the higher must be the purity in which the dairy, its accessories and the dairyman himself are maintained. The tribes order their ritual time on the nature's signal, that is, on the blossoming plants and trees, on the position of stars and moon, the biological time, and if the circumstances so demand, by direct divination. The principal festival of the Oraon is called Sarhul, the feast of the Shal blossoms, also known as the marriage of the earth. Another festival, known as Kadlota, is celebrated when rice grains have formed in the rice plants. The Toda perform their rituals according to the position of stars and new moon. The star called Ket, the 18th nakshatra or lunar mansion, is considered to have a malignant influence. Most rituals are performed on or about the new moon. The moon time is followed rather strictly. As you have seen, the Toda regard childbirth pollution particularly dangerous to the ritual condition of the sacred dairies of the hamlet. Thus, they insist that a new mother and her child should be taken as soon as the woman could move out of her hamlet to the pollution hut. The length of the time mother and child were compelled to remain in this hut depended upon whether or not the child was her first. In the case of the second or subsequent child, the period of seclusion would last until the new moon following the birth, possibly just a few days. But for the firstborn, it had to be a complete lunar month following the new moon after the delivery. Thus, if a woman had given birth to her first child just after a new moon, she would have to endure almost 2 months of seclusion. On the third day of the new moon, the newly delivered mother receives butter and buttermilk from the dairy. This event marks the end of the restriction on her drinking milk and consuming milk products from the dairy. The social paternity rite or bow and arrow ceremony is performed on the day of the new moon. The first funeral rite is also held on the day of the new moon. Most tribes consider biological time as an occasion to perform ritual such as first menstruation, childbirth, and death. Forms of ritual language may vary from one tribe to another, but the basic ritual code of mantra, mudra, dhvani, and vyavahariki is applicable to all cultures. Let us now understand the mantra. In the complex form of religion, such as in the Vedic and Tantric traditions, the conception of mantra is fully developed. The Vedic mantra is considered as the primordial word, of which neither human nor God is the author. It is not even the message of the God. It is the God itself. Briefly, a mantra is that letter or combination of letters which evokes the deity. The mantra used by the tribes in the performance of a ritual are simple words of everyday language. For instance, the Kharia tribal priest recites the following mantra to the village priests: O ye Khunt and Baghia spirits, today I am offering sacrifices. Today in your name I am offering to you mahua, bear, fig, all these fruits. I am worshipping you. Do ye protect our bullocks, buffaloes, goats, men, etc. in jungle and brushwood from tigers and bears. This mantra may appear as prayer, for the Khariya priest offers a sacrifice to the spirit, which in turn is asked to reciprocate. But on closer inspection, you will find that in this there is both a command for boons and the hope of reciprocity. Some scholars are of the opinion that mantra is not the same thing as prayer. A mantra intoned in the proper way becomes effective by the very structure of its sound, body. A prayer, on the other hand, is a mere individual thinking expressed without determined sounds. Let us now understand the meaning of mudra. There are various kinds of hand gestures and bodily positions representing specific feelings and esoteric actions. In tribal dance, the movement of steps, interlocking of hands, and other hand gestures have both aesthetic and ritualistic significance. The most common forms of the tribal dance mudra are interlocked arms at the waist level, in front and back, swinging of one leg while holding all the weight on the other foot, open movements of arms above shoulder level, outstretched hands held diagonally, one above the level of the head and the other at the level of the knee. Taking such tiny steps that the lifting of the feet from the ground is hardly perceptible, the arms held down to the sides and the eyes downcast, fast movement of foot back and forth, swinging, rolling, rotating, hanging head down, and so on and so forth. There are also gestures of ceremonial greetings such as Johar of the Santhal. Let us understand the meaning of dhwani. Dhwani or sound is the third component of ritual language. The sound of musical instrument guides the dance mudra. Certain forms of sound have special significance. The Santhal produce peculiar sound at the annual hunt. They shout "Der der, dipper dipper" during the Bitalaha dance. The Toda shout "Oh how how" during the thatching of their sacred dairy temples. The tribes of northeast India also produce a wide variety of sounds, sometimes giving expressions to their virility. The sound of flute, the sound of the drum, whistle, and cries are associated with a number of ritual performances. Certain forms of sound are considered inauspicious. According to the Birhor, if a jackal of the fakir kind, that is, which emits a peculiarly hoarse sound, is heard calling near the settlement, it is apprehended that someone in the community will fall sick or die. The croaking of a raven near the Birhor's hut is believed to indicate that the news of the death of some near relative is about to come. Ceremonial weeping at the time of death may also be included in the category of ritualistic sound. Let us now understand the concept of Vyavhariki. In course of the performance of a ritual, what follows in the form of prescriptions or instructions, thoughts, methods and behavior is the Vyavhariki code. For example, all Toda dairies must be kept in a state of high ritual purity. Deities are participants in the divinity of the gods of the sacred places, believed to be able to grant boons and punish wrongdoers. The manner in which the Toda go about requesting a boon from a deity is strictly prescribed. It involves presenting to the deity certain gifts like a buffalo or a dairyman's black loincloth or silver coins or a silver ring. If religion in tribal societies, the presentation is to be a buffalo, the ceremony lasts 2 months. If it involves no more than a silver, the whole affair can be completed in a couple of days. But in any case, it involves all the male adults of the patrician and the ritual interaction of the two clan divisions known as queer horns. On the day before the new moon, following the announcement of the act of offering a buffalo, all female members of the chief settlement must leave the hamlet, as must all males of the buffalo givers queer. On the Sunday following the new moon, the buffalo is presented to the dairy. The two men who wishes to propitiate the dairy must provide a female calf between 1 and 2 years old, unblemished, with clear eyes, and no parts of its ears or tails cut. On the morning of the ceremony, members of the gift giving queer must bathe from head to foot and abstain from food. When they are ready, they assemble at the outskirts of the chief hamlet, from where they approach the settlement in a group with the calf. Each man bears his right arm, which is a sign of respect, and carries a green stick. When the members of the resident queer see these people approaching, they shout, "Give the buffalo, come here." The gift giving queer enters the hamlet and the two divisions face each other. The dairyman addresses a ritual 3 times with the question, "Shall I give the buffalo?" To which the reply each time is, "Give the buffalo." Then all the men drive the calf past the buffalo giving stone, by which act it becomes the property of the resident queer. The whole assembly now bows toward the dairy entrance as they recite a short prayer which differs from clan to clan. After the prayer, all approach the dairy and bow one by one at the threshold, after which everyone partakes of a feast prepared by the receiving queer. The food on this occasion is a Toda delicacy, which includes large balls of puffed millet and jaggery. It is served with generous helpings of honey and ghee. After eating, the gift giving queer must again leave the chief settlement and stay away for another lunar month. Members of the gift receiving queer may come and go as they please, except the resident dairyman. 2 or 3 days after the new moon, everybody, including the women folk, may return. The whole community is invited to participate in a celebratory feast. Dancing is an integral part of all the festivities. Life in the chief hamlet now returns to normal, having been disrupted for 2 months. The underlying structure of the tribal ritual complex, as you must have realized, is not a mere reflection of an association with the superhuman world, but a strong reinforcement of the human world itself. Both social and aesthetic aspects of life are enriched. The social implications of primitive religion have been highlighted by Durkheim and Weber and many other sociologists of religion. The integrative function of religion in tribal society is demonstrated in their common goal and common means. Unlike the salvation-seeking complex religions, tribal religion is concerned with the maintenance of social and cosmic harmony and with attaining these worldly goods, that is rain, harvest, children, health, victory, and so on. Let's see the concept of Hinduism among tribals and how Hinduism has impacted the tribals. Hinduism has not been a proselytizing religion. Its action didn't attempt to convert someone from one religion, belief, or opinion to another. The indigenous population of India is supposed to have contributed in the past generally to the building up of what is known as Hinduism. The tribes retained the principal elements of their faith and practice, though this was modified to a greater or less extent. In addition, they shared some of the gods and goddesses and even participated in the social festivals and ceremonies of their Brahmanical neighbors without any effort on the part of the latter for conversion. That participation did not turn them into Hindus. One might indeed say that the tribes can be regarded as being fully absorbed in the Hindu fold of Brahmin priests who perform Brahmanical ceremonies for them during the three critical events of birth, marriage, and death. If the latter are still celebrated by tribal rituals, then the communities are still true to their own faith, in spite of the fact that in the entire fringes of their culture, they participate in some of the ceremonies of the Hindu neighborhood. The most common tribal traditional religion among the pre-Christianity tribals is generally known as animism. The traditional religion of tribals is more negative than positive. They do not have any fixed place to worship and never worship idols. Offerings and sacrifices are made at any place in the house, on the road, under the tree, upon a rock, by the riverside, at the paddy field, and other places where spirits are expected to have their abode or expected to visit. In the tribal religions, the concept of sin is very vague. The life of the tribal is remarkably free from lying and stealing as a general habit, and adultery is a crime punished with a heavy fine according to the tribal custom and law. However, the punishment varies from tribe to tribe. While adultery among the tribals is regarded as a heinous crime, the practice of promiscuous intercourse among the unmarried youth is not only condoned but encouraged by the elders among some tribes. So, there is no clear concept of sin. Sin is an offense against tribal custom or taboo, and what is morally evil may be regarded as good if it does not transgress the tribal customs and law. All the tribals believe in the existence of life after death. They believe that the soul of the deceased goes to the land of dead. The Kuki-Chins call it Misikua. It is believed that in the world of dead, there is an exact repetition of the life in this world. So the soul of the deceased goes to his or her own family in the land of dead. As a matter of fact, the Tangkhwals practice the presentation of gift to the dead when a relative dies. A present is brought to the deceased person, telling him or her to give the gift to his family members who died before and are already in the land of the dead. All the friends and relatives give presents of any kind to the dead person so as to help him continue his life and journey to another world. They believe that the soul of a good man will go to heaven to live with the Supreme God. But this concept is also very vague and hard to explain. One of the universal features of tribal faiths in India is that all beings are supposed to be endowed with a living spirit. Animals and plants, rivers and mountains are an exception to this rule. The dead who have apparently left us are still with us, and it is through remembrance and offerings that we have to renew our relationship with them on due occasions. The dead are reborn in the shape of offspring in the present generation. The span of man's comradeship is thus extended to encompass all that he sees around them, as well as those whom he loved and apparently lost. What is significant in the tribal religion or animistic belief is that tribes like Mundas, the Orans, or the Santals believe that the whole world is peopled by spirits and is thus rendered holy. In the forests where some of the more isolated communities live, a few trees are never touched or cut, for they represent the primal grove. They are symbolic of the whole forests which men, under the pressure of needs, have had to cut down. The mountains are holy, and there are rocks of extraordinary shape or colors which are taken as proofs of their sacredness. If the spirits dwells everywhere, and if all are at peace with them, men enjoy freedom from illness and a long life. If anyone falls ill, the general belief is that some relationship has been violated. When, by means of particular magical ceremonies, men or women skilled in the art decide what should be done by the sufferers. And when this is done, health is once again believed to be restored. Among the animistic tribes of India, all places are holy, as they are the seats of spirits. Some have accused the so-called animists of living in perpetual fear of ghosts and spirits. But there does not seem to be any particular justification for this. All men have their hopes and fears, and to single out a few elements of tribal religion and say that the latter are born only of fear would be a grave injustice to them. Let us now see the contribution of Christianity to tribal development. Christianity provided an ideology that helped the tribal people maintain their identity in the face of serious erosion of their traditional religious, social and political institutions. In fact, there is hardly any custom that needs a metamorphosis. What is needed is to modify and make it suitable for the present times. For example, the dead could be buried in a common place and not within the house compound, or stop or reduce rice beer brewing so as to save for the future, say for the example for the education of the children, or folk songs that sound archaic could be turned to modern music. However, the change from the old to the new must be gradual, so that both the old and new generation feels at home with the changes. Some churches have definitely contributed much towards the preservation of culture. Dances, folk songs, dresses and the like have been integrated for the sacramental worship and in church functions and at public functions as well. Today, Christian institutions are doing their maximum for the preservation of the cultural identity of the people, except in some places where there may be some who are still not aware of the importance of it and may impede its preservation. Pre-Christian social life consisted of hunting of wild animals and elaborate celebrations after that. Eating and drinking continued for days. If there was a good harvest, feasts of merrymaking were made, often emptying the granary with all sorts of festivities. At present, the people get together in the churches to thank for the harvest. They also offer the best of products to the church, seeking God's blessing. In the past, the tribal people were considered primitive, ferocious and dangerous. By listening to the preachings of the missionaries, the tribals developed a new outlook. For the tribal to become a Christian was to become a man more refined and polished. The Christian missionaries taught the tribals how to read and write. The missionaries taught them to abstain from intoxicating drink. Abstaining from drinking especially led to decrease of social get-together, which led to spending of more time with families. They started wearing proper dress and understand the value of cleanliness. They realized the value of education. Personal cleanliness in the house and better ways of life were taught by the missionaries and the evangelists, which the tribals started to follow. If a person falls sick in the pre-Christian time, the tribals believed that the sick person can be cured by sacrifices of birds and animals. This was a costly affair, especially for the poor. When the tribals became Christians, all kinds of sacrifices became unnecessary. The new faith brought peace among the tribals. The tribals found in Christianity a religion that met their needs which set them free from the bondage of evil spirits. The work undertaken by the missionaries have led to a number of schools, colleges and other learning institutions being established, which have led to a lot of the tribals becoming mobile in their sphere of occupations. Apart from spreading the message of the Gospels, great service was rendered by the missionaries in the economic distress to which people had been subjected for a long time. The missionaries made inquiries about the oppression of land, lords and moneylenders, and when the cases came up to court, helped the converts by their counsel and every possible way. This included exercising their personal influence on officers of the government. So, religion serves the central and crucial functions in society, supporting what has been variously called social integration, social solidarity and social cohesion. Religion is an all-pervading supernatural phenomena in a man's life. Dear learners, in this session, I have discussed some of the tribal rituals and Hinduism among the tribal. I have also described the contribution of Christianity to tribal development. Thank you.